Hello, everybody. Welcome. I hope that you are all having an amazing day. I am having a great day myself here on this lovely Tuesday, and we have Han behind the badge of Altenew, so please say hello to her as well. I'm so happy to see some of you are already saying good afternoon. I see Nancy, and before I forget, I'm always forgetting. Don't forget to share while we're live, because if you do, you'll be entered to win a $15 gift certificate to the Altenew store. Didn't want to forget to say that. So if you're new here, welcome. We are so happy to have you. My name is Jen. I am one of the co-founders of Altenew, and I do have a challenge that I host every Tuesday. So we have our creative challenges with Jen, and there's a different theme every week to hopefully push you out of your creative comfort zone, maybe get you out of a slump that maybe you're experiencing, get your mojo back, whatever it is that you need, I'm here for you. And as we go, I'll be showcasing different Altenew projects, chatting, announcing the winner from last time, doing random stuff. It's always a random fun time over here. So Jane and Alana, thank you also for joining us. And I'm seeing it's hot in Minnesota. Here in Massachusetts, it's been I've mentioned before, I'm not a fan of fall or winter. I'm definitely a spring and summer person. But right now, it is that confusing time of year when in the morning it's like 48 degrees. And you're like, okay, I gotta bundle up. And it's super cold out. Let me get ready because it's chilly. And then in the afternoon, it's like in the 70s. You're like, okay, I gotta get this off. It's a really confusing time of year. I don't know why people like the fall. Everyone has their own thing they love. If you love fall, I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you, but it's just, I don't know, not my thing. But I do like being cozy. My husband always reminds me, he's like, well, you like wearing like sweatshirts and hoodies. I said, yeah, I like that. That's cozy. And he's like, and you like wearing boots, like cute, like knee-high boots or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I like that too. So there's good things to like about the fall season. All right, so let's start by sharing what I created last week. And you guys, I didn't finish it. I always finish my projects. If I don't finish them live on air, I will finish them off screen and I'll show them to you. And I just didn't get around to it. I've had quite a busy week. And then also we just had our cozy comfort retreat. Speaking of cozy. So usually on the weekend is when I will finish my project from Tuesday if I didn't get a chance to finish it. But I was busy. I was one of the teachers of the retreat. I also went in addition to teaching my workshop, I checked out other teachers who were teaching amazing things. I've been checking out the projects of people who were joining us and playing along with the different classes and workshops and announcing winners. So I was busy with that and I didn't finish. So please forgive me, but I'll show you what I did last time. So it was a 3x3 challenge, 3x3 or smaller. So if you wanted to go smaller, you could. I did this really cute fruit background, and I thought this with a vellum greeting would make a great little tiny mini card, something to just slip to someone to brighten their day if they're having a challenging day. And then I was going to make another card using these different fruits that I stenciled and then die cut. So I have my strawberry, my pear, and my orange, and I was going to do something else with that, and I didn't. So it's all right. I've told you guys before, you do not have to submit finished, polished projects. You could submit works in progress because it happens to all of us. I'm sure we've all had times that we wanted to get more crafting time for ourselves and we didn't. So it is all forgiven. So that's just part of how casual we are around here, right? It's okay. So if you didn't finish and you want to share, go for it and share. You could still win a prize, even if you just share a work in progress. Shar is telling me that it is raining in Dover. Sue said, I bet it was fun. It was fun. It was really fun. Jane, I have good excuses. Even if you don't have a good excuse, let's say like you wanted to do it, you're just like, I didn't. I watched TV instead, or I took a nap instead. That's a good excuse. Yeah, all excuses are fine. But yeah, I do have like working excuses. I was working over the weekend. So It's all good. All right, so let's get to the winner of our last challenge. So just give me a second to share my screen. Okay. Hopefully this pops up. Okay. So here is our challenge winner. And I'm so excited that Cindy is the winner of our last challenge. I really, really love how Cindy created a stenciled background and then added a die cut, very delicate die cut on top. And I think it just looks really sweet. And of course, the little 3x3 size. Again, this is a Post-it note size, so it is very small if you don't have your ruler out to see how big 3x3 is. And just by seeing what everybody submitted and things that you guys said about the projects, it was a challenge for a lot of you to work on such a small little canvas size, but you all did a great job. So congrats again to Cindy. Make sure you contact us and let us know that you are the winner of the challenge so we can get a $15 gift certificate to you. Facebook is stuck. So now I'm here. I'm seeing this message and I'm also getting a ping on my phone. I thought it was maybe someone from my team, but it's not. My mom is sending me her Wordle score. Love it. Okay, so let me just stop sharing. So that was exciting to see that. And I don't know why I'm seeing that Facebook is stuck. So now I'm here for now. I'm guessing, Sue, you mean you hopped onto YouTube? Just let me know, because I think I was having some kind of weird thing last week where some comments weren't coming through on one of the platforms. I think I was getting them, but maybe when our team was checking the comments later, they weren't getting them. So I'm not really 100% sure what's going on. So just, yeah, go ahead and let us know in the comments if you're having any technical difficulties, and our team will work on that so it's not a problem next time. All right, with all that being said, let's get into our next challenge. So today we've got some magic and mystery. Now for this one, it's kind of a lot that you could cover here with magic and mystery. You can interpret it in so many different ways. So I decided I'm going to go a celestial route today, but you can do fantasy. So if you want to do like dragons, wizards, centaurs, whatever, I consider that magic and mystery. If you want to do literal magic, like maybe a rabbit coming out of a hat or a deck of cards, that's a direction you can go. Anything mysterious, maybe you have a project that you're going to create. Maybe it's a card with like a hidden flap that opens and there's like some kind of secret inside. So this is not as strict as some of our other ones that we've done. This is a little more open-ended. So please just interpret that however you want. And if you join us, and I hope you do, make sure you use our hashtag Altenew Challenge Live, and that will make it so that we can find your project and check it out. But I'd love to see how you guys interpret this. Like I said, magic and mystery, there's so many ways to interpret it. But again, I'm going celestial. So I'll show you what I have, and then we're going to get into some crafting. It seems like a lot of you like mystery. Love that. Okay. So I'm starting with a piece of black cardstock that I have. I also grabbed an old set, To the Moon. This is well loved. I have used this set a lot. I really kind of love anything that is related to space. I love anything with like nebula or a galaxy scene. I really think that that is cool. Space is intriguing and interesting and scary. Yes, I'm scared of space. I love space movies. I love anything like to do with aliens or space documentaries like about the Apollo missions or the space race, just like all of the above. So I'm really into that. So that's why I'm going this direction with our mystery and magic. But this is a really fun set. We also have a mini moon. It was, I don't know if it's 3x2 or 3x4, but we have a smaller set that has a 2-step moon that you can create. And that one's really cute as well. We do have some sets that have stars and other elements. We don't have a lot of fantasy type stuff. So if you want to go in that direction, like I said, maybe dragons or dragons or unicorns. I don't know. You can use stuff from other companies. You are not limited to using Altenew products. If you don't own any Altenew products and you're crossing your fingers that you win, so you get that $15 gift certificate so that you can try Altenew products, that's okay too. So use what you have as long as it fits in with that magic and mystery theme. So I grabbed this. I'm also going to take just a scrap piece of cardstock. I've got a loose plan. A plan is new for me. I've been trying to have more of a plan. It's always a loose plan though, never a solid plan. But I grabbed some shimmer relief paste. This is a really beautiful silver color. So this is here. I also have some acrylic markers. I grabbed a random bag of sequins. We sell sequins in the Altenew store, so I would say check out the ones that we sell. But as a product tester, I also have like bags and bags of different sequins from manufacturers when we're trying to pick colors and when we're trying to pick sizes and things like that. So I actually don't know where exactly these came from, but since I have them, I don't want them to go to waste. So I'll be using, oh, maybe not, but I'll use sequins. So just, yeah, a lot of fun stuff over here. I also took our titanium white gouache. I think that might be cool to do something spacey in the background. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. But I know for sure I want to stamp this moon. So that's a good place to start. Okay, so let's get going on that. My scrap piece of cardstock. I also have my sticky mat that I need to place back into my stamp wheel. I did not put this back after I was done crafting over the weekend. Got some dust on it, so let me just get some of that dust off. This is just a wet chamois cloth. And I'll be placing this back into the stamp wheel. I'm curious, do you guys have a dedicated sticky mat that you use out of your stamp wheel and then one that's in your stamp wheel? If you have a stamp wheel, of course. Or do you do what I do and just like rip it out? Because I also have the 9x12, of course, and I use that on its own, but I sometimes will take this one out, the smaller one. If I just want a small work surface to do some stenciling or something, I'll pull it out and then put it back in. So I'm just curious what you guys do. And I will just stick on my scrap piece of cardstock and then we can get to stamping. Now this, like I said, is an old set, but I do believe we still have some available in the store for you to get. I'm going to start with this solid image here. And since it's solid and I haven't used this stamp set in a long time, it is well loved, but I can't remember the last time I did it. I'm just going to go over this with one of our stamp conditioning erasers just because I really want to get that solid stamping. And if I don't do this, it may have been okay because it is an older set that's been used many times, so it is conditioned, but just to be on the safe side, I'm adding a little bit of that to the surface. I might as well do the others while I'm at it. Just like that. I know it's an old set because I didn't even store it with the packaging. I just am storing it here on its own in this like generic sleeve. So it's an oldie, but a goodie. So let's place this. I'm going to be cutting it out, so it really doesn't matter where I position it for now. And then we'll pick some colors. Gray is a good place to go, but I have actually used this to create like Mars. You know, you can use another planet. So by like doing it in reds, it would make it look like Mars. There's other options, but we're going to stick to a moon for now. I like the moon greetings that come with the set. For those of you just joining, I am going to be creating this moon, a celestial scene for our magic and mystery. And I think I'm going to go with limestone for that first layer and then use silverstone and industrial diamond. I'm not sure about the pure graphite. I can always restamp one of the layers in the pure graphite just to see if I want to add that extra darkness, but I'm not positive. We'll see what it looks like as I go along. But we'll definitely start with the limestone, which is super light. It's more of a cooler gray. We do have other grades that are warmer, but I think this would look great for the moon. Also, fun fact, our son's nursery theme, his bedroom is space, because that was what I picked. I just like it a lot, so I did that. You'll see is a little bit of splotchiness that is going to even out as it dries and as we add the other colors on top. Now, since this is not stored with the original packaging, I don't have the layering guide. I could go on the website and get the guide, but I'm just going to wing it. So you can see we have the different areas of the moon. This one fits in right here. I'm going to use that kind of as a reference. So it's not layering on top. It's almost like fitting together like a puzzle piece. So they're different spots of the stamp. So I'll do this one in the, let's do the silver stone, and then we'll decide if it's industrial diamond or pure graphite for the last layer. Okay, so this is what I mean. I'm using that as a reference. So those two areas here, like those two large craters. And it's a little tough to see. I'm just looking at the sides to see if I'm pretty much in the right spot here. I think I am. I'm just picking up that stamp and now going in with the Silverstone ink. Let me just close up my limestone first. Kristen, welcome. Don't worry about coming in late. You didn't miss much. I just barely started, but we are doing our new challenge, which is all about magic and mystery, and I'm going to do some celestial stamping. Oh, it's looking like a moon already. Looking very, very good. I think I'm going to do the pure graphite. I just want that contrast. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay, so now we're going to go here. This is my reference again, those two blobs, the crater area. And if it's not aligned just right, it is okay, because it's all just going to give you the texture and the look of different craters. I am excited to ink this up again after so long. All right, here we go. Yeah, I think that's nice and dark. It'll look pretty together. Whoa, look at that. It's like photorealistic. Got the moon. I'm glad I used the darkest gray for that layer there. So good. So good. Okay, now for the dies, we actually have two dies. One will leave a border around the moon, and one's like slightly smaller so that you don't have a border. I think that's the one I'm going to go for, just because I'm going to be putting it on a black base, and I don't want that white edge around it. I want it to just look like it's really there. So here we go. We've got these two dies. We also have dies that just say moon. So if you want to do one of the greetings, like I'd travel to the moon for you, you don't have to stamp it out. You can use the die. Maybe we'll do that. Okay, so here are the two different moon dies. So this one leaves the border if I want to leave a white border, but I'm going to go with that slightly smaller one. And I'm just going to grab a little piece of our satin masking tape just to tack that down. And I'm just going to trim around this a little bit so I can get it through my mini blossom, because as I've mentioned in the past, the mini blossom plates measure 3 by 6. So you want to make sure that what you're cutting is fitting within that 3 by 6. Probably should have peeled this off before I put the before I put the die on. Sticky. Okay. telling you, I just wiped that off. You guys saw earlier in the live, I wiped that down with that wet rag, that wet chamois cloth, and it really does bring back that stickiness. Because like I said, I left this out and it got dust on it since like 2 days ago. It got dusty, and that just cleaned it off and made it so sticky that I could barely peel my cardstock off. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so let's set this aside and bring out my die cut machine. Now, I don't need the shim just because this is an open circle die. The shim is really helpful for when you have an intricate die. So something that has a lot of inner cutouts, something that you need that extra pressure in order to make it like a really excellent quality cut. But since this is just a single circle, it's open in the center, I'm not going to need the shim. I'm just going to run it through with my A plate and my B plate. But if you ever find yourself stuck and you don't have our shim, so this is just a metal shim that we sell. Yes, mine is a little warped, still works. You could always bend it back. But you can use a paper shim. So you can throw a piece of cardstock inside or 2 pieces of cardstock and run that through, and that will help give you the pressure you need. Okay, so here we go, and I've got it nicely cut out. And since I used that smaller size, that's why we don't have the white edge around it. And now you can see how that looks on the black cardstock. So cool. We're off to a great start. Okay, let me just clean some of this up. I don't think I need the die cutter anymore unless I do the sentiment. So actually, let's just put that here. Just put it next to me instead of putting it away. And we size this so that there's a margin of error. So you can see I still have a little bit of moon that was left behind, because if it was like fit exactly to the size of the moon and you were just even like a hair off or like a 1/16 of an inch off, that might frustrate you. So there is a margin of error here for when you're placing that die on. Okay, I'm going to just stack some of these things. I'm trying to tidy up as I work, but here we go. We've got a great start. And I was trying to think of how to bring that celestial element into this, because right now this is just a moon, right? I want to make it look like we have a constellation. And I looked up what constellations there are, and there's a dragon constellation. I don't know much about the dragon constellation, but I looked it up and I could read it to you quickly. So the dragon constellation is named Draco, a circumpolar constellation in the northern sky that represents a dragon or a long serpent. Okay. Now, it doesn't really look like a dragon. You know, you have to use your imagination when you're looking at constellations, but I'm going to do my best at recreating that constellation somewhere over here, maybe. I don't know if it would ever be in that position in relation to the moon, but it doesn't matter. We're just going to try it anyway, just over here. And I think that's where I might use these sequins, and I'm definitely going to be using my acrylic markers. I'm going to map it out, and then I may or may not connect the dots. If you know what I mean, you look up a picture of a constellation, and in the real night sky, you just have to look at it, and there's no way of connecting it. Oh my gosh, my husband's bringing me coffee, and I'm wondering if Logan wants to say hello. Hold on. Logan's my son. My husband is Dave. Let's see here. Okay. We have a baby visiting.
It's flying in.
Flying in. Yay! It's Logan. Logan, look around. The last time you were here, you were so little.
Will you wave?
Do you want to wave? I know he doesn't really know what to look at. No, not at Dada. Don't wave at Dada. Wave at the screen.
I think he's trying to wiggle out.
He's trying to wiggle out. What are we doing? What are these lights? Look over there. Logan, who's that? Yeah, there you go. You want to say wave and hi? Hi. Hi. Mwah. All right, be good for Dada. Thank you for the coffee.
Mm-hmm. There we go. Yeah.
Oh no, you saw my pajama pants. Yep. PJ's on the bottom all the time. Okay. Well, now we're really cooking. We've got a drink. All right, so let me put you back down and we are going to continue on here. Oh my gosh, you guys are so sweet. I'm seeing Lynn. Oh, what a cutie. He's a doll. Gorgeous smile. Yeah, he is very, very cute. Very, very sweet. Okay, so I've got my acrylic markers and I'm just going to wing it as far as duplicating this constellation. So I know I want the moon somewhere up in that corner. And right now I'm just looking on my screen at the dragon constellation. And I'm seeing a kind of a triangular shape here. Again, I think I'm just going to put the sequins on top, but I'm just mapping it out for now. So 3, then a long one up here, comes back down. 1, 2, 3 in a row there. This way across. I guess this is the tail of the dragon. And just like that. Okay, so here is my dragon constellation, Draco. And I think just having these stars won't be enough. Even if I put the sequins on top, I'm just looking here. I wish I had smaller sequins. I didn't take out my Altenew sequins. I should have. Okay, these are actually too big. I'm not a fan. Okay, so we're changing the plan. We're not using the sequins. Gone. Bye-bye. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take a straight edge. I've got a trusty old ruler. I'm going to connect the dots, and then I will figure out how to make these look more exciting. I think I might go with the shimmer relief paste and just dot on them so those stars are shimmery. But we'll start with this. Connecting the dots. I'm going to be careful as I connect these just because I don't want the paint to smudge on the marker. Yeah, Nancy said dots of shimmer paste. Yes, I think it'll be cute. So maybe once I do this, we'll add the dots of shimmer paste. And then as that's drying, we'll kind of think about sentiment options. All right, we are doing great. I'm looking at the time and, you know, I always run out of time, but I think we're going to finish in time. And if we have spare time, maybe we can do some Q&A. If you guys have any questions you want to ask, or if you want to suggest products, or if you want me to talk about upcoming products and like spill the beans and tell you some sneaky things about what is coming up next. That's always fun. Yeah, if we have extra time, we could do that. Okay, so here is my dragon constellation. And there's a lot of possibilities with this. You could get the astrology signs for your friend. Let's say it's a birthday or a family member's birthday. You could look up which constellation is for their birthday, and then you can do that too. You can draw it out. So if you weren't here and you just showed up, or maybe like, hi, you just showed up and you have no idea what I'm doing, you might not recognize that as a constellation, but I think having the moon present helps. And I'm going to add additional stars here. So let's do that too. I think I'll do that just with my white acrylic marker, and then we'll keep the constellation itself, the shimmer relief paste. So I'm just going to randomly dot some more stars just so it doesn't look like our night sky is vacant and empty. Scoot the moon out of the way. It's so nice, by the way, you guys, having these acrylic pens, these markers, because they work on dark cardstock. So if you are trying to have a dark background and you want to add something like white or a color, you do have some options. So option A, you can use an acrylic marker. Option B, you can use gouache. So white gouache is opaque enough. Sorry, I'm flipping it upside down. Is opaque enough that you could use that on a dark cardstock. You could use embossing powder. You can use white pigment ink. So we have white pigment ink. Just it depends on what you're doing. So for something like this, it's really easy to just dot around. If you want it to look more splattered, we do have a pure white ink spray. So you could use that. Just different ways to get the look that you want. But I really like having this pen. I'm going to try and make like super tiny dots. Some like really far away. Teeny tiny dots. And I'm seeing you guys want me to spill the beans. Spilling the beans is a good thing. Yep. And that was Sue. Spilling the beans is a good thing. And Cindy said, hoping for a set of stamps with dies that include all 12 birth month flowers on it. I love that you mentioned that because we are working on birth month flowers. So we don't have everything in the set, but that's a really great idea to kind of bundle them together. I'm looking on screen. I think I just want one more. There we go, up in that corner. So you see how that easy that was. Now let's bring our moon back. And you're seeing that we're definitely getting our space scene here. Okay, so now let's move on to the shimmer relief paste. Okay. And opening that up. Oh, I love it. It is so pretty. And I'm thinking to make my dots. Let's test this out on a scrap piece before I commit to doing this on my project. Here's just a piece of gray cardstock. Okay. I can grab a stylus. I have this set of styli. What's the plural of stylus? And I want to see if I can use this to make my stars. Oh, sorry. I should probably bring this on screen so you could see what I'm doing. Okay, let's practice. Oh, it's not easy to see on this gray because it's almost the same color. Just trying to decide what's the best way to get a nice looking dot. I don't want them too large, but I definitely want them to have some depth because this is relief paste. I can build this up and it will dry and be like a little mound, whatever shape I put it in. I think that'll actually work. Okay, so let's go dipping in. Oh, this is way better than the sequins. Okay. I think I just have to pounce it a few times just to get the size I want. That's not a perfect circle. Maybe it'll get better as I go along. Yeah, that was a good one. Okay. I know they're just looking the same to you. Again, I'm looking on screen. I'm just like, it looks like the same thing as the acrylic marker, but it looks shiny now and pretty. And there's a little bit of texture. And then, yes, we'll do the greeting next or the sentiment next. I'm kind of tempted to add more shimmer relief paste somewhere else because it's so pretty and I'm barely using any for this. Right, just doing a little pouncing here. And here. Okay, so you guys want me to spill the beans, huh? I'm trying to think of what I could share that's not too far out because we plan so far in advance, you guys. We are currently up to June. We are June of 2026 that we are finishing right now, wrapping up June. So we're about to start July. That's how far in advance we are working. So I don't want to tell you something about like June and now you have to wait almost a year to get to it. So I'll think of what I can share that's coming up sooner than later. As I think I'm just finishing these last few here. Oh my gosh, Cindy, that's a great idea. What? She's saying, wouldn't it be cool to have a very tiny piping bag for the relief paste? Has anybody done that? Like, I'm thinking of, you know, how you would ice a cake and use those little fancy tips in that piping bag. That's a really cool idea. Okay, I wish I could show you how nice this looks. Let's see if we can get it to catch the light. Not really. Maybe there. Okay, so they're shiny and pretty. All of these look really nice now. Okay, there's a little bit of texture, not much. You can't, there you go. Maybe you could see those little mounds. I could definitely do more. If I had a little piping bag, you're right. I could just make like perfect little dots. That's a really cool idea. You guys can tell me in the comments if anybody has tried that with a piping bag or some kind of decorative tip. So I'm thinking it'd have to be pretty small. If your tip was too big, like if you were using it for like a cake size, I think it would just be way too much for a paper crafting project. But if we had like tiny miniature tips, I think it's a really nice idea. All right, let's put this away, our relief paste. Okay, and moving along. Oh my goodness, guys, I know I said I wanted to spill beans, and now I can't think of which beans to spill. Am I going to have to like pre-plan next time? I'm looking at my box of things that haven't been released yet. But that's just like stamps and dies and stencils and embossing folders. Like I want to tell you something different, like not a typical product, something that you don't know that we're working on behind the scenes over here. And I can't think of anything. All right, don't need the ruler anymore. Sue's saying maybe put the paste in a tube with a needle type point to squeeze it out. Yeah, that's a really cool idea too. I think there's a lot you can do with the pastes. I typically just put it through a stencil with one of our palette knives. So, you know, that's how creative I am with it. But I know a lot of you that do like mixed media projects use the pastes in like really fantastic and cool ways. And it's a relief paste for a reason, like relief meaning textured. So you could do a relief painting if you wanted to take a palette and make almost like a sculpture of like a rose or something. You can do that. Just we'll have to wait a very long time for it to dry, but you can do that. So there's definitely really cool options with where you could take your creativity with the relief pastes. And I personally haven't explored that. This is exciting for me, the fact that I'm not even using a stencil. Usually I use a stencil with my relief paste. So yeah, I'm gonna look into that for you guys. Okay, now let's take the stamp set back out and think about what greeting we want to use. So I love you to the moon and back. That's a great one. You're out of this world is always good. Shoot for the moon. I'm over the moon with you in my life, and I'd travel to the moon for you. Plus, we have these two moon sentiments. So one of them is just like a regular capital font. I know that's backwards. It's because it's a die. So we'll go this way. And then the other one is the moon in cursive. So let's put our moon back so we can plan placement. I can't even pick it up. My fingers are just not functioning today. There we go. Okay, so the moon will go here. The greeting could go up there. I think I'm going to shoot for the moon. Let's go with that. Shoot for the moon. I'll use this. And the stamp, I will stamp onto just a little tiny strip of cardstock. Let me cut the strip first and then stamp it. So I'll just use the same little scrap from before. I think this is good. Did I make this too narrow? Nope, this is good. All right, so it'll just kind of come here across. Oh, might look cool if it goes all the way across. Nah, I don't like that. That's weird. Or is it? Maybe it's okay. Guys, this is thinking out loud, right? let's leave this here for now and die cut our cursive moon so we could play with placement, and then I'll decide where I'm stamping the words once I know the placement. And I think I'm just going to use plain white cardstock for this too. We're going monochromatic. I've got the same little piece of tape from my die cutting before. Now this one is more intricate, so I am going to use that metal shim that we have. Just like this. Okay, place that into position, and right on top it goes. You can put your plate in your shim inside the sandwich. That's where, you know, it's supposed to go, air quotes, supposed to. I don't do things the way they're supposed to always. I like putting my shim on top just because I find it easier to send it through the die cut machine. So if you're having trouble with that extra pressure, getting it through the machine or getting it started, try putting your shim on top. And I find that that just helps me. Moon, shoot for the moon. Okay. So we could cover up the what's that thing called? Something like the celestial. No, the constellation. We could kind of go over it a little bit if we want to, like that. I think that looks kind of cool. I like the balance and how the tail of our dragon constellation leads us back to the moon. So you have kind of a shape going this way. I could do shoot for the up here and then have moon at the bottom. Again, now we have the leading line of the constellation bringing you to the word moon. Shoot for the moon. And I think I am liking this white strip going across the whole top. I think it gives it purpose instead of just a little floating tiny baby sentiment strip. So I'm just going to go with the whole thing. Still not sure where moon is going to go, but I think it'll be here or here. We'll see how it looks once my greeting is stamped. And I do stamp sentiments on a block. So let me just get this mounted on my block nice and straight. Looks pretty good to me. And then we hold our breath and stamp. I will be using the Obsidian pigment ink for this. So shoot for the moon. Oops. Okay, I can never see what I'm doing when I'm live because my head wants to be right there. I can't because the camera is there. Okay, this looks pretty straight. Okay, that went well. Shoot for the moon. Guys, I'm really racking my brain here trying to think of what to sneak peek. So I may have made a promise that I'm not fulfilling because, like I said, I don't want to tell you something about next year. I want it to be something that's coming up soon. So I may give you a sneak peek next week, which is great. You'll just have to come back. And I'll make a note so I don't forget to prepare a sneak. Either I'll show you something that's coming up or I will tell you about a product that's coming up. Okay, let me just put my little die cuts away. My little dies, not the die cuts. And then we can assemble this. So I'm thinking I will put my sentiment strip on with just some tape runner, the glue tape that we have, and then the moon and the moon word both with foam tape. So I'll just place this here on my mat and I'm looking to see, it looks like it should be good right above that thick inch line. So let me add my adhesive now, and then we'll put that on. We'll also just trim off whatever is remaining at the end. If you're just joining us, by the way, welcome to Creative Challenges with Jen. We are doing our magical and mystical challenge, and I'm going with Celestial as my magic and mystery. Just placing that across using the measurements on my grid mat as a guide for placement. There we go. And then I could just trim off this little extra bit. And I also just need to grab our foam tape. This is the Instant Dimension foam tape. I'm going to put it all around my moon. And then I will also take some little tiny pieces and put them behind the sentiment, the moon sentiment. I feel like I'm missing color. Do you ever do that? Like if you make a monochromatic project and you're all excited because you did a monochromatic project, and then you're like, oh, where's the color? That's how I feel right now. I just want to like splash a rainbow on it. Okay, that's for that. And then some little itty bitty pieces for our moon. And I'm just cutting tiny little slices. You definitely could use like a liquid adhesive instead, which maybe I should have done. These are tiny and fiddly. There's one. Here's another. I'm just placing it across the letters. But yeah, if you want to use a liquid adhesive, that's a lot easier in this case, but I think it'll look cool popped up. I'll put this little piece over here. Sticking to my fingers. And then we're pretty much ready to wrap this up. I love the little constellation that we have. I would think by now the paste is dry. It is, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. Let me just cut off a little tiny bit of this overhang. I should have grabbed my tiny fine detail scissors, but I think that'll be okay. All right, so we know the moon's going here, so we could pop that into position. And then we will figure out the best place for the sentiment. Sue is saying you could die cut the moon word multiple times and glue together for dimension. Yes, that is a great way to do it. So you don't have to put just these little tiny pieces of foam everywhere. Okay. And now let's make that choice. Shoot for the moon or shoot for the moon. Let's go down here. I think we need to bring some of that white down because it's making such a statement with that strip up top that I feel like it's a little unbalanced. So we'll bring the white down to the bottom. It's taking off all these little tiny papers. And there we go. Ah! Stuck to my finger. It's very sticky tape. All right, we'll just pop that down right there. Okay, there you have it. So this is my mysterious Magic and Mystery card. I will add this to a card base once I'm ready to give it away, because that's always what I do. I love to store my cards when they're as flat as possible, so I don't put them on the folded card base until I'm ready to give it. But I used our old set, old but amazing, To the Moon to create this realistic moon stamp. So we have 3 stamped layers there. I used our relief paste to create our celestial, he keeps calling it a celestial, constellation Oh man, words don't work when you're live. So I made the constellation, and I also connected the dots between them with a white acrylic marker, and I used that acrylic marker also to make all of these little stars in the background. So it's a pretty fun and simple card, but this is a great look for a kid, maybe a teenager who doesn't think anything's cool, but then you give them this cool card here. Maybe they'd like it. The constellation is a dragon, and the name is Draco. So we learned a little bit about that, and I read you about this constellation. So now we all know about Draco. And that will just about do it for me. So let me flip you back. And if you joined late and you missed, we had a special guest visit briefly, a very small special guest. It was my son, Logan. He and my husband went and got some coffee for me and for him too. Not Logan, but my husband. I had enjoyed some coffee. So check out the replay if you want to see a little pop in from Logan. But that is everything. So I really hope that you guys choose to join us. Remember, you don't need to use Altenew products. You don't need to have a finished project. I really think there should be a lot more people participating because it's so easy to participate. You just have to satisfy the prompt. So anything magical and mystical or fantasy, anything like that that you want to interpret for this challenge works. Make sure you use our hashtag Altenew Challenge Live. That's the only way that we can find your project and have you be eligible to win the $15 gift certificate to the Altenew store if you get selected to be featured next week. Speaking of the $15 gift certificate, you have maybe less than a minute now to share while we're live, because that's another way to win. And once I sign off, we are going to randomly select the winner and put that into the comments. So please share now if you haven't done so yet. And was there something else I had to share? I forgot. Cindy was the winner. So congrats again for Cindy, who had our featured card from last week. And that'll be it. If I forgot anything, check in the description and check in the comments. And I hope you all have a wonderful and amazing crafty day. Bye-bye.